Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is the Darkest Timeline, and it is a dark timeline, I'm afraid. A little bit of the mental health talk, and not the good kind, I'm afraid, to start us off. But then we get into a bit more light, not that light, but it gets lighter as it goes along. There is TV. There is a stand-up special. And a movie, an old movie, and that's an understatement, but still a movie. Plenty of computer games. I mean, like, it's overflowing with computer games. And that'll about do us. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And share the podcast around, because that's the one that we like the most. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. The Darkest Timeline. Hello. How you doing? I was being all mysterious then. Ominous, maybe. Could be either. Could be both. Who knows? How are you doing? How have you been since we last met here? I hope you're doing well. I really do. I hope you're having the best day, the best week, the best life. If for any reason it's not quite the best, obviously, the way we like to do things here, do feel free to reach out to anybody here at the podcast. Say hi. We'll say hi back. Failing that, friends, family, and loved ones. And failing that, there are a variety of services available to people if you need to reach out. And we do encourage you to reach out. Today, I'm going to start by talking about depression. Sometimes I think, oh man, I imagine people would listen and be like, here he goes again. But I do think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to highlight, hey, not every day's wine and roses. Some days are beer and pizza. And if you get that reference, me and you can absolutely be friends. So, simple fact of the matter, I had a little bout of depression last week. It's that thing, isn't it? The moment it comes out your mouth, you're like, oh, weakness. I imagine somebody listening right now will be like, oh, you're weak. And I imagine listening to it myself and being like, I'm weak. But, like I say, it's important to highlight these things. And the fact that they are part of natural life and how you go about dealing with them is sort of part of it. So, I'm going to take you back a couple of weeks in time to a point in time that I've already talked about. Obviously, we had to let one of the cats go. And that was a member of our family, however you slice it. Cat, yes. Family member, yes. So we had to let a member of our family go. Leanne struggled a lot. My eldest struggled quite a bit. And then in descending order, my son was particularly mean to my eldest about that particular subject, but not in the way that one person would be mean to another person, in the way that a child that has no concept of feelings and emotions would be to someone who was dealing with feelings and emotions. So you can't really get all that angry about it, but it doesn't help at the same time. So we did have it to deal with as a situation. Not fun for anybody. So, a variety of different things going on. I chose a different tact. I chose. I don't have the time to deal with this now because I've got this going away situation going on. And Anne's an absolute mess state. Very difficult for a variety of different reasons. And I need to be the strong one. I need to be strong when dealing with this. I need to be strong. So there we go. The time away came and went. And that was that. It was back to earth with a bump. Obviously, once you come out the other side of things, you are back to life, back to work, back to school, back to activities for children, back to podcasting, back to working out. Now, when you make a decision to say, I'm going to be strong and I'm going to be too preoccupied to think about it or deal with it or whatever, I was sad. Let my emotions out at the time and then I moved on. But it wasn't enough. And a secret part of me knew that at the time. So, coming off the back of a holiday, in the truest definition, time off work, and I went away. And I spent time with my children. And not really registering until afterwards, when the dust settled, that it was a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed spending time with my children. I enjoyed our time away. It was so... Yeah, it was busy. It was stressful, but it was so... easy in a way. Like if we were out and we needed something, we just went and got it because I'd budgeted X amount of money for our time away. And some of that money was like, oh, I need to pay for petrol so we can get home, and I need to, make sure to feed the children, and oh, we need this. But then there's a situation where it's like, I forgot to take a hat. So, if we see a hat, I should buy a hat. And we saw a hat and I bought it and went, wow, that was fun. I wanted to get them all a treat, a gift, a souvenir of their time, and I did. But being able to say, look, this is a big thing, it's a special thing, and it's an expensive thing, but I think you should have it, and I think you should have it to remember your time. Going and doing exciting things that weren't cheap, but they were fun, and all of that stuff. And then next thing, you're back at work. And I go back to work, and I go back to, I need to fit my workout in, and I've got to walk the dog, and I've got to make sure that I've got time to eat and spend some time with Leanne, and then podcast, and I've got double podcast to do, and I've got this and that to do, and so on and so forth. What it does open up to is I'm sad. I'm sad that I'm not on holiday anymore. I'm sad, it's nice to come home, but it's also kind of sad. You're away and you're having a great time and you're loving life and, all those sorts of things. And then you're home and everything's back. And then other aspects that you have to deal with are somebody missing from your house. And you find yourself looking for that little face. Oh, I'm just going to go upstairs and see where so-and-so is and where... Oh, he's not here anymore, is he? Okay, that's right, yeah. When my youngest daughter came into the house, she was like, oh man, somebody's done a poo. And she was like, I bet it's... and she said one of the cat's names, and then she was like, or it was maybe... And she started saying the other cat's name, and then was like, oh, no, it won't be him, will it? And there are other factors. There are other things. I had a couple of work-related issues, which, for want of a better way of putting it, to really boil it down to its absolute basics, have really pissed me off. Like incredibly unnecessary things that have just really, really wound me up. And I obviously Leon's struggling, and the kids are different varieties of, oh, I don't care, or oh, I'm sad, or oh, I'm sad 1 minute but I don't care the next, and this sort of stuff. So things have been a bit rough at home, and as each thing piled on top of the next, I realised all too late that I had slipped into a depression. I was under this dark cloud. I was not having a good time. I was not having a lot of fun. Like I say, missing my little buddy, and missing the time that I'd spent with my children, and missing not being at work, and missing time when it wasn't all doom and gloom in the house, and all these things sort of added up, and I was really, really sort of starting to struggle, starting to suffer. And like, the silly little things. My hay fever has been fucking awful. And the last time it was like this, I had this thing where I was like, I don't understand why my hay fever medication's not working. And then I checked the directions and was like, because I'm only taking after the amount I'm supposed to. What a fucking idiot. And then I started taking the right amount and realised, yep, that's what happens when you only take half. But I'd suffered for so long. But this time I am taking the right amount, and I'm starting to think that I may have built up a tolerance to it. It's not working as well. And I don't know if anybody out there in podcast land suffers from hay fever or allergies or anything like that. It can get to the point where it can be quite crippling, quite debilitating, and it just makes you feel fucking awful because you have no control over it. So I'd really slumped after the first sort of couple of days of the week. Last week, I'd really slumped into this depression. Wednesday rolls around. At this point in time, I can't even tell you what it was me and my son did on Wednesday. I want to say we went to a park. I don't know. No, there may have been some shopping needed. Short version is we went out of the house, we came back. Simple. But get to the afternoon, and I'm like, just fairly doom and gloom. Roll into Thursday, and I'm just beside it. Everything can do one. Everything, I'm like, if it doesn't go right first time, I'm like, fuck this shit. And like I say, by the time Thursday rolls round, I'm just done with it all. I'm just completely done with everything. And I went to work, and I was like, this is going to be a fucking shit show. Got to work, I was tired, I was miserable. It was like, I need as much coffee as I can humanly get in my body as fast as possible. So let's deal with that. And there are times when I don't know why I drink coffee or caffeine, because I honestly think it doesn't really do anything. And then there are other times where I'm like, man, that cup of coffee sorted me right out. And last Thursday was one of those examples where it actually worked. So I felt a bit more chipper by the mid-morning. And a friend that I work with, although technically don't work with anymore, but I do still see it work, turned up, and we just, when you're at work, you kind of have to leave your shit at the door kind of thing. So I did. That's generally how I've operated, mostly. So me and my work friend, we shot the shit. And I was generally feeling a little better by the end of the day. I was like, okay, well, that's good. That's fortunate, all that. We roll into the weekend. Weekend's a very interesting time in our house. It's a variety, a real 50-50 mix of really busy and not. Like real quiet. And I don't know which I prefer. I have this thing that when it's busy, I'm like, oh, it's too much. And when it's quiet, I'm like, I should be doing something. So we roll into the weekend. We've got all the children. There's a lot of, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and we've got to do the other, and then let's do nothing. It's kind of the way it goes a lot of the time. And like at one point, Lamb was like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you being such a misery?" And I was like, I'm just that way out. I had rage and all these sorts of things and going ons and just snapping and snarky and all of this. And a few times she'd sort of said to me over the weekend, like, why are you like this? Why are you being this way? What's wrong with you? And towards the back end of the weekend, I turned around and I was like, I'm dealing with all the stages of grief, and this is the anger stage. I'm going through it. I am going through it. I am dealing with it. But it's, difficult. And then it kind of passed, kind of subsided, and sort of came out the other side of it. And it was a real roller coaster. I didn't feel brilliant about the sort of the time that I spent with my children over the weekend, because there was a lot of, we've got to do this, and then we've got to do nothing, and then let's go and do this, and then let's do nothing. We've got to go from doing this thing we're doing to go home and do nothing. And it was a bit like everybody just needed a rest, everyone needed a break, everyone needed the opportunity to just do what they wanted to and didn't have to feel like they had to be doing something. Keep it quiet, keep it on the DL, and take it from there, kind of thing. So I thought it was important to sort of highlight the, we all have bouts of depression. We all have a little bit of time where you're like, I'm not happy, I'm a little miserable, I'm sad. And they can grow, because you can be sad and then go, I'm not sad anymore, and it can happen in, the space of 5 minutes. But those bouts of sadness can grow into bouts of depression, and I think it's what you do the other side of that. Sometimes talking to a friend can bring you out of it, or at least start the process of bringing you out of it. Doing something for yourself rather than something for other people, again, might bring you out of it, or it might just be the start of that road out, climbing out, reaching for hands to help you out. So, like I say, I was dealing with a thing, and I thought it was important to talk about it. Something that's not been a topic of conversation for a little while, because I didn't want to end up just being the broken record man. I haven't really talked about weight for a while. I can almost hear the eye roll from here, but I think it's good to revisit some things every now and then. I've been in this sort of camp of not entirely sure what the next step is, what the next move is. I do 2 days of fasting a week, Wednesday and a Sunday. And the rest of the time, I've slipped into very much. I was talking to somebody the other day. They were talking about like how blood sugar works, talking to a diabetic, how blood sugar works, and they were like, you've got to eat something, and then your blood sugar goes through the roof, and then you've got to wonder if it's going to come down, and is it going to come down enough, and all this. Then like eating at different times of day has different effects. And I was like, what do you suppose happens if you don't eat for 20 hours and then cram an entire day's worth of calories into 4 hours? I'm reliably informed that's not the best way of doing it, but it seems to be the kind of... I start eating at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 8 o'clock I've attempted to eat an entire day's worth of calories, and then I don't eat, sometimes for 2 days. So I was saying today, I was like, I feel like I need to drop a stone. That's where I am, because I feel like the fluctuation that I go through over the course of a week is more manageable now than it's ever been, because it goes up and up and up, and then you have a day of fasting and it goes down, and then it goes up and up and up, and you have a day of fasting and it goes down. If it goes up a pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds, and then you drop 4 or 5, then you're keeping on an even keel. Not the best way of doing things. What you want is to eat and have no difference, but not quite there yet. Still working on that a bit. So, need to drop a stone. Couple of issues. Issue number 1, when I was a stone lighter than I am now, apparently, I'm reliably informed, people thought I was ill. Like, really ill. Like, really, really ill. And I was like, no, I was just trying to lose weight. And they were like, you lost too much weight and you looked unwell. Like, oh, now you tell me. I can afford to lose an inch around the waist quite comfortably. Apparently, can't afford to lose it in the face. And as you cannot target weight loss areas, then a little bit of a what's for the best. Started. This is I'm about to get real personal. By the way, started to panic because I thought that the man boobs were returning. Now, what I will say is this: through the weight loss process, one of the man boobs was like, "I'm going to catch you later. I am out of here." And I was like, "This guy knows." Notice how I said one of the man boobs, because the other one was like, "I'm good where I am. I think I'm going to hang out. What we got going on here?" And for a long time, I was like, dude, come on, bro. The other one's long gone. You are holding up the whole process. And then something awful happened. Because the guy, the man boob that was hanging around was like, I'm back, baby. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you're back? Like, yep, back in business. I was like, no, we're not doing that. And then the man boob that had left the party was like, oh, are we allowed back? Cool. Tag me in. I'm like, no. So for a while I was like, it's not fun. It's not what I want. It's not where I'm at. It's not what I'm about. I'm going to have to drop some weight. I'm going to have to do something drastic. We all know what that means. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, not that. Just going to have to get a week's worth of fasting under my belt and really drop that weight. Look about doing it over a course of a month maybe, and see about trying to drop it, keep it off, all this, that, and the other. Then you run the risk of people going, oh, he looks ill, maybe he's not well, and blah, blah, blah. Then I went, I don't think that's a man boob. Again, no, not that. I was like, I think that the amount that I do in the gym for chest might be starting to pay off. But there's a problem. Because if you've got a man boob, just the one, and then you start, doing what you're supposed to in the gym, and things start developing and showing and growing in the way they're supposed to in the gym, but you've still got a man boob hanging around. You just end up with a man boob. It's quite unsightly, trust me. Believe me. Looking in the mirror is unsettling. So there's that situation going on, and now I'm like, the fuck do I do now? Short version is, I think I need to lose a stone. Short version long, I hate to say it because obviously you guys had to listen to me talking for like a year about this. I don't know if I've got it in me anymore. The 2 days a week I fast are long, man. Also, something that started happening. It started happening towards the back end of the full fasting I used to do. Once you pass lunchtime on a fasting day, I get this metallic taste in my mouth, and I've Dr. Googled it. Apparently, it's something to do with like ketosis, which I'm not entirely sure I believe after just not eating for a morning. But so yeah, I get this metallic taste in my mouth, and then for like an entire day, I can't get rid of it. Imagine what that would be like for a week. By the end of the day, I'm biting my tongue. Just chewing away on the thing. So, few things to consider. Something else. And I debated whether to talk about this or not. And in fact, I was going to do what is everybody's absolute favourite thing in the world. I was going to do a live Google. I'm going to go on here. And I'm going to ask a question to Dr. Google. So, can taking... Oh, uh-oh. Oh. Oh, okay. That is the literal opposite of what I thought. Oh, wait, no, hang on. Oh. No way. Oh, shit the bed. So, I wanted to look up. Okay. I wanted to look up and see if taking magnesium affects your memory. Because my memory is fucking awful. To the point where, like I said before, I am taking hay fever medication. But the number of days that I walk through life going, did I take my hay fever medication today? Mostly because I've been really struggling with my hay fever. So I'm like, the first thing is, did I take my medication? And I'm like, yes. Because I have a reminder that goes off twice a day. And if the reminder's gone, I must have done it. But when you're walking down the street and you go, I have no memory, I have no recollection of that happening. Obviously, your boy beyond the magnesium. Turns out, after a very quick Google, apparently magnesium does the opposite. It actually helps your memory, especially in people of middle age, which I guess that's me. But yeah, I was suffering with some severe memory issues, and the only reason that I was like, oh, maybe I should Google it and look it up and all this, that, and the other, is because I'm not the only one who has mentioned memory problems. Leanne said to me the other day, my memory's shocking at the moment. I was like, you and me both. I can't remember all sorts, like entire parts of the day. I have this thing about mornings Mornings seem to be missing. Like I'll be walking through life on an afternoon going, I don't know if I remember any part of this morning. It started happening a while ago. I'd forget my run. But I think that there was a part of me that was just like, it's so routine and it's so like mundane to a degree that my mind was like, I don't need to remember this part of the day. So I would just, and when I'd be like, well, I will have listened to a podcast. So what was the podcast about? I can remember the podcast. So I presumed it was that. But yeah, memory problems, real bad memory problems. Yeah, really bad. Don't get me wrong. I have always had a terrible memory. Always, since I was a child. I used to get in trouble for so much stuff that was memory based, and my only comeback was like, I forgot, and it wasn't like a lie, like a child lie, and it wasn't an excuse. It was genuine. I just had no memory of it. And obviously, when you reach my age, memory issues, yeah, that's a concern. Because I'm an old man. There, see, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about this week. I've got plenty of other things to talk about. But that was it for the week. Keeping it nice and tight. And that's what she said. TV, I am watching a animated TV show. An anime. An actual genuine anime. It was recommended to me by a friend of mine. And I'm still watching it, but I genuinely don't know for how much longer. I'm watching My Hero Academia. It was recommended to me. Oh yeah, it's great. You should watch it. I was like, all right, cool. I should watch it. And I am quite a way into it, and I'm like, this is just Naruto. It's just Naruto, but not as good. And I went back to my friend and I said, hey, I started watching My Hero Academia. And the first thing he said to me was, it takes a little while to get into it. I was like, yeah, it does. I'm 5 episodes in and it's taken 4 episodes for anything to happen. He was like, yeah, it does take a little while to get into. And I was like, cool. And from that point to now, where I'm now like, I don't know, I think I'm 10 episodes in or something, not much else has happened. Now, there's a twofold problem here. One, I really need a little bit of something more from this program. It's not giving me a lot of promise for the future. 2, there is another anime that I really like the look of. And I'm like, part of me wants to jump ship. So, a decision will be made at some point. It may be one of those, because the other anime I think is just 22 episodes. So I may jump ship and then come back. We could see. The other TV I've been watching is Young Sheldon. Me and Leon are halfway through the 3rd series. Yeah, it's fine. Couple of small issues. I think they've sort of done this thing with like a couple of the characters where they're like, we're not entirely sure what to do with you, so we're going to do this and see how it feels. And especially for the fact that I know that those characters become probably the main characters later on in it, it feels a bit strange that they're just like, we don't know what to do with you. So hopefully that sort of will speed up a little bit. Really long story short, whilst I was in Edinburgh, I accidentally flicked onto a stand-up special, which made my eldest daughter laugh at some really dark shit. And I said to Leanne, I was like, hey, the eldest and you seem to have the same sense of humour, because she laughed at a really dark joke of your favourite comedian. I was like, there's a more recent stand-up special that we've not seen. So me and Leanne watched Anthony Jeselnik's Bones and All. It's the 3rd Anthony Jeselnik stand-up special we've watched together, and it's one of those. I don't like to be too negative about certain things, but it's the worst of the three. The second one wasn't great. It was a real step down from the first. And this one is a notable step down. It's a mixture of kind of a low-hanging fruit, but not in the way you would normally think. Basically, he'll start a joke and you know the punchline from the setup. That's a bit weird with comedy. Part of comedy is the surprise. It's almost the surprise that makes you laugh. It's the jump scare that makes you go hee. So if you start a joke that's several lines and the first line gives the punchline away, you're a bit like, I didn't need you to do the rest of the work. I did the work. In fact, you should be paying me. The other sort of, it's like a third, and a third. A third of them were like, you knew the punchline after the first line. The other third were like, I could have happily not had that joke in my life and been better off. It was a waste of everybody's time. And then there were a third where we both me and Leanne genuinely laughed. We had a couple of out loud chuckles. And I generally find in a stand-up special, if you can have a good out loud laugh, it's kind of doing its job. It was, however, like I say, the worst of the three that we've seen. Leanne seemed to comment a lot on how he looked, said he was looking old. I commented on, I was like, do you suppose he grew the beard? Because from the cheeks up, he looks like John Mulaney. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And that was kind of the end of that for me. That's all I could see past that point. So, yeah. Saw a post on the internet the other day that told me that a particular film, which is a particular favourite of mine, was 54 years old. 54 years old. Gonna double check that because, don't want to be giving out any false information. And why does this not work? Stupid computers. Come on. Fucking hell. Do. What annoys me is when there's a film that has been remade and it gives you, right, so, hang on, I can do this. No, it's wrong. Because that says it's 1969. And it's 2026, so that'd be 57. Yeah. Let's go with that. I'm not firing on all cylinders at the moment. Anyway, mentioned to my daughter that this film was very old and it's one of my favourites and she should watch it. And I showed her a trailer and she was like, yes. So me and my eldest watched The Italian Job, the original, because I've never seen the remake, because fuck you. Not you. No, I don't mean you. I mean whoever decided to remake The Italian Job. Fuck them. Just before we started, I said to my eldest, I was like, this is one of my favourite films. I imagine I say that a lot, because I've got quite a lot of favourites. Don't even get me started on the thing. So we watched The Italian Job. She watched it. I watched most of it. The film is fucking fantastic. It's so good. Michael Caine at his absolute peak. I was like, you've got the Caine trilogy. Italian Job, Get Carter, and Alfie for me. I was like, outside of that, you've got like Zulu and I was like, you've seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And then obviously he had his sort of, what would you call it, a renaissance where, the Dark Knight, the Batman, the Nolan Batmans, the size of a tangerine. And there was that one. I own it, I think. I should look that one up. Inception, like anything Christopher Nolan did, he just put Michael Caine in it. Michael Caine. Italian Job is a phenomenal piece of work. I saw a thing saying that Fiat offered to give them the cars, and they were like, well, we need it to be British, so we need Minis. And Mini were like, we're not going to give you the cars. So between the two, the production bought the Minis that are in the film, and all the other cars, or the majority of the other cars, are provided by Fiat. Because Fiat were like, we just want to be part of it. And I respect all of that information, whether it's true or not. Apparently, the mafia were involved with certain aspects of the filming of it, but again, didn't look up too much into that. Don't know if I want to be googling the mafia. What I did like was my eldest was asking me a lot of film-based questions while we were watching. Like, will they have filmed that properly? I was like, yeah, was that done in one take? No, you can see there's a cut part way through, and they'll have taken it from another angle. How did they go about chucking a car off a cliff? They threw a car off a cliff. Why does this car explode? Because they were probably sick and tired of picking up all the pieces. And so on and so forth. So it was an enjoyable time. Did have to say to her, this film is rated PG, however it deals with a couple of subjects that may not be considered PG. You may or may not realise what I'm talking about as we watch it, but believe me, this film is a PG, so you can happily watch it. Yeah, probably the least said about that, the better. So, computer games. Let's talk about computer games. I've been playing Forza Horizon 6. It is... I'm going to say this. I'm going to get this out and then backtrack, I imagine. It's one of the dullest racing games I think I've played in quite some time. I don't understand the concept, the sort of reality of, here's a racing game, it's boring. But here we are. I'm just not entirely sure what they were going for, or what they were trying to achieve with this film. I just don't really know. I say film. I feel like I said film. I mean game. It's heavily scripted is what I've started using. Scripted. This will not be the first time I mention this as far as games are concerned. When you do the Horizon events, you have to be at this place at this time so this thing can happen. So you just end up feeling like you're not really playing, you're not really driving, you're just along for the ride, pun intended. I still, it's weird because I still play it and I still enjoy it. There's just a lot about it that I'm like, I don't know why you made this decision. And I think I've said this before, but it came up again yesterday. I own the Crew Motorfest on both Steam and the PlayStation, and it works cross-platform. So if I was to play it on the PlayStation, it would update my Steam version of the game. And I honestly think it's the better game. So it's sitting there staring at me when I'm playing Forza going, this is a thing. The Crew's like, you could just be playing me, right? I'm like, yeah, I know. And I might, but not right now. I think my issue is it cost me a lot of money. I think that's my issue. From not great games onto fantastic games. I played Lego Batman, The Legacy of the Dark Knight, I believe is its full title. And Unfortunately, I did come across the first stupid puzzle. Or is it stupid player? That's the real question. Because I even had to Google it and watch a little video, and the video was like, just look at the thing longer. And I was like, are you kidding me? It was like, just look at it longer. I was like, for fuck's sake. And then, not long after that, I finished Lego Batman. Yes, that's right, ladies and gents. Lego Batman is finished. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Andy, what was your completion percentage? Well, yes. My completion percentage for Lego Batman was 39%. I genuinely do not believe that I finished a game with a completion percentage of 39%. There's a big part of me wants to go back because there's a couple of things that I didn't unlock that I really wish I had done. The Bat Pod, you can't unlock that just by playing the game. But I did get the tumbler, and the tumbler was super cool. Oh, here's something. There was one thing that I did kind of wish, that there had been an option for the Lego version or the Technic version of the vehicles. Because the Lego version of the tumbler is cool, but the Technics version is absolutely phenomenal. I know this because I can see it from here. Beautiful. Yeah, straight up great game. Recommended it to a friend who I was like, you are never going to buy this game, but I'm not going to not recommend it to you because it's really good. And then I got a message, it was like, I bought a game you recommended. I was like, was it Lego Batman? Like, yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I was like, well, there we go. We were both wrong. Unfortunately, the game section of this podcast is a shit sandwich because we started with, I kind of did it the wrong way round in some ways, but 007 First Light. My word, this is more heavily scripted than Forza is. Because at least Forza is only scripted through the Horizon events, which you can kind of allow because it's once in a blue moon. Whereas the Bond game is so heavily scripted and so heavily assisted that when you're driving the cars, you basically don't drive. When you are out and about in the world, you can't open doors if you haven't dealt with all the enemies in the area. Even if you can't find the enemies in the area, meaning i.e. that they can't see you if you are going through a door. Like you spend 10 minutes going round and round and round a particular area trying to find the enemy that's there, allegedly, that is stopping you from going through a door. Apparently. It's very much one of those. When it's good, when it flows, when the game allows you to actually play it, it's actually not too bad. It's actually a reasonably good game. Obviously, it's made by the people that made Hitman, and you can tell. And they obviously were like, oh, as Hitman, you've got your guns and you do a lot of walking, and every now and then, if you want to, you can slap a guy about. And they've kind of gone in the opposite direction. You can move around a little bit quicker, you do a lot more fighting and a lot less guns. And eventually it will switch to guns. If I'm honest, in a lot of the shooting sections, I find I'm using hand-to-hand a lot more. Because it's kind of easier. Unfortunately, it's just not a great game, and the reason for that is because it could so easily be a great game, and a series of decisions around the way the game is constructed, the way it plays, and the things it will and won't let you do make it worse than it could have been. And that is a lot. It means a lot. And it's quite annoying. And it's a real shame because obviously going out into this other IP, a new IP for IO Interactive, you would hope that they would want to absolutely knock it out of the park. And although it's a game that's been reviewed very well, it unfortunately does not play very well. So that suggests a little bit of jiggery pokery where the reviews are concerned. Finally, I do have another game. Go back a few weeks, I was absolutely obsessed with Crimson Desert. I would tell you that Crimson Desert was the best game ever made, even with all of its flaws. And then one day, I went, I don't like this game anymore. There was just something happened, and I was like, I'm not enjoying this at the moment. And then I ran into a series of boss. To say boss is tricky because they were machines. I had these 3 machines to deal with that were completely unbeatable. I had this puzzle to deal with, which was like, are you fucking serious? This is a genuine thing that you want me to do more than once? Go fuck yourself. And there was a distinct lack of anything else for me to do in the game. And I just went, you know what? I'm done with this. And I walked away. And then the game had an update, and I'd never played it. And the game had another update, and I was like, I should probably just dip in. Just have a little look and just see what I'm missing, because there's been 2 updates and I haven't played it. Typically, you put it on, you go back to it, you play along, and remember that when you've got a boss to deal with, just take plenty of healing stuff with you, and you can get through it. And then you go and do another boss, and 3 bosses later, and you've done it, and then you bite a giant golden dragon, and you go, fuck me, this is great. And then you get your own dragon, and you're like, well, shit, we're back, baby. I genuinely think I might have nearly finished it, which is weird. I know the game is like a sort of 120-hour threshold, which I believe you can finish the game in 120 hours if you're not too bothered about doing and seeing absolutely everything. And I think I'm in and around that area. I do have a distinct lack of other things to do. So I'm a bit in the, well, I might as well just do the story. I'm pretty sure I've actually finished The Abyss. I did a piece of The Abyss, and it sent me back to the ground, and I was like, does that mean I'm done? I've finished? There was no mention, like, of all the videos that I'd watched, there was no mention of anything after that. I am aware that one of the things that I was doing to unlock one of the abilities, there was like a next step. But the video I was watching was, there is a next step. I haven't done it, because if I had, I would have done it on this video. But from what I'm told, it's really hard. I was like, cool, that's great. So a little bit of Crimson Desert here and there. One of those games, I will say this, one of those games that I will probably pick up on the PC a little further down the line when it's cheap, because I saw a load of mods you could get for it, and I feel like playing it again, but modded to the absolute wazoo. Final thing to talk about is Into the Radius 2. Had a little bit of a problem. Could not get Virtual Desktop to connect yesterday. Would not connect at all. Did a load of changes to a load of different things. One was a setting in actual Windows, and one was a setting in the NVIDIA app, which was apparently going to allow me to connect, and it didn't. It was like, nah, mate, absolutely not. And I was like, bro, come on. And then it was like, try restarting everything and see. So I restarted everything, and it worked, kind of. It was super laggy. So after a while, I just gave up. It's fine. I read that there was an update to the beta. They seem to be saying that since their full release of the game, they've had a lot of feedback about a lot of technical problems because obviously people use different machines. So they're addressing those. And I can tell you because I've actually got... where is it? It's right here. Yeah, here it is. The biggest pain point, of course, performance issues and bugs. We're aware of them and we're fixing what we can. Every update, a majority of changes, bug fixes and optimization. And the game won't have an Into the Radius 1 2.0 type of transformation or support lifespan. Those that remember Into the Radius 1's past know it had a very different development history compared to its sequel. We have plans for all of 2026 and part of 2027, and then there's an update 1.1, which is just saying that they've added automatic loader and a manual loader, etc., etc. I'm not going to read all of this because if it's not a game that you're interested in, then you're not going to be interested. What I will say is the person who I've downloaded the most mods from has removed my favourite mod, and it's making the game a little sour, let's say. And they have put an update out saying that they will not be updating the mod, and I'm like, bro, you have genuinely kicked me in the balls right there. I'll go back and play it probably tomorrow. Hopefully see if it'll run a little smoother. What I will say is we've had a little bit of cooler weather the last few days to the last sort of week, but I'm reliably informed that it is due to get a lot warmer over the next few days, and especially into the weekend. And the warm temperatures don't play nicely with the VR because it makes you real warm and it makes you not want to play. So we'll see what comes of that. It might be time to get the neck fan out maybe. But there we go. That is it. That is the podcast for this one. Thank you for listening to my educational talk on depression. Lols. Right. I'm going to catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think of that? Started out a little dark. Not dark, but, you know, a little bit gloomy, let's say. But it perked up, I feel. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for being here. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review, and check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. Thank you for listening, thank you for being here, and until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode of CookieCast, please like, share and subscribe.